This, however, is what we're going to be working on today. These are the motor mount mounting plates. One for either side, driver's side. This is driver's side. It's longer to accommodate the gearbox it's going to go through. And this is the passenger side. It's a little shorter, no gearbox on that side. So these have been drilled and fitted. The holes on the frame have been drilled out. These need to be cleaned up too. They're still pretty rough. But what we're working on today is the hidden fasteners for those. So those are actually going to get bolted on rather than welded on. Part of the reason for that is I want to be able to take them on and off while I'm fitting the engine. So once those are on, I get the axle back under there. I can double check. I can put the engine back in, double check my initial measurements. I can tack weld the new brackets, which I'll have to still make up, but to the plates, again, and check fitment, measure everything out, and then for finish welding, I can pull the plates off, weld them out here on a flat surface where I've got more room, and I'm not, given there's going to be a lot of weight on those, I want them to be solid as possible. So that's where we're at. The hidden fasteners, the hidden nuts, we're using 1/2 inch, 13 grade 8s. We're going to, this is 16 gauge sheet metal. We're going to cut this into strips. We'll set the strips, maybe even rectangles, just depends on which one. The ones in the front will be strips, and then they'll be tall enough so they actually sit, because the front part of the chassis has got a divider in it. So we're going to cut these to a height so they can actually just sit on the channel. We'll mark the holes. We'll pull them back out. We'll drill them. We'll tack weld the nuts. I'll probably love it more than tack weld, but we're going to weld the nuts under the back of this. This will get slid back in, tightened up with a bolt. We'll then have a couple holes drilled on either side of the main hole, and then we can tack. We can weld those holes so we can weld the chassis to that backing plate. So yeah, that's going to allow us to pull this on and off. I can get to them now through the notched chassis, where the new spring coil buckets or channels are going to go. But once those are welded in, there's no accessing the inside of that. So, and really, yeah, this is the bolting it up is it's mainly just for getting this installed rather than welding. I could weld it straight to the frame. The frame's probably, I don't know, maybe 14 gauge. The steel plates are 3/16 of an inch. So that's a lot of getting the heat just right, moving from the thicker melter to the thinner, from the thicker metal to the thinner metal without overheating and burning through the thinner metal. And once everything's together, these probably get red Loctite driven in then, and then probably not going to go anywhere. So that's where we're at. We're going to go start by cutting this down. I'm going to use a nibbler for that, or shears, and then we'll start getting these fitted up. So, never used one of these. Metal shear nibbler jobby. Got this Harbor Freight, had it for a couple of years. It's great. Says it'll cut up to 14 gauge. This is 16 gauge. I've cut 22 gauge with it. 16th. This might be the thickest I've tried with it, so we'll see how it works. But yeah, this is nice rather than be nice clean cuts, and you're not making the mess like you kind of do with the plastic cutter or the grind wheel. So. Turn some music on so I can work. Pick up a set of the shears and you use them. Keep in mind when you use them, your cut, you lose about a 1/4 inch of your material. So you have to keep that in mind on your lines when you're taking your measurements and whatnot. All right, so got our plates marked, labeled. I'm gonna drill these out. Now when I put them in there to mark my holes, I took some measurements ahead of time. I wanted them to be as tall as possible or as thin as possible, wherever they need to be to fit in the channel and have the top and the bottom against the top and the bottom. That will alleviate, when tightening these things up, torque being placed solely on the spot welds. So if they're sitting in there and they're flat and they can't turn, then all the spot welds are doing is holding the nut against the chassis rather than trying to keep this thing from turning. Now, ideally I want to go a little bit bigger on the hole than a 1/2 inch. I'd like to go, I'm thinking 9/16. Nut measures a little about 3/4 of an inch, so 9/16 I think should be good. start drilling, I'm gonna take these over to the other side and use a punch. Hopefully get a nice little hole for our bit to grip. I'd like these to be as perfect as possible, but I don't think I'm quite that good. So let's see what happens. Got all our nut plates fabbed up. The other ones are already in place on the Commander. I'm going to go ahead and put this one in place. I'm going to move this table. I'm going to bring up a fan so we can exhaust some of the welding smoke out of the space. Then we'll offload the welder, get it closer to the Jeep, and start getting these welded up. Got our ground clamp attached to one of the bolts. See if that works well enough. If not, we'll go ahead and use the flat wheel and the grinder, get a bare patch of the frame, and do it that way. the old flashlight. Look inside, see if we've got good penetration on the plates. Certainly looks so. I'll show you right here. Alright, so there's one of them. They all look about the same, just like that. So I think that looks pretty good. We'll let those cool. And we'll go ahead and pull the bolts out. We'll mount the plates. Actually, we're going to have to clean those up a little bit first, but we'll get the plates mounted. Once the plates are mounted, then we can start working on the upper supports on either side. And then, I think probably another couple more bolts up top here we need to do. Yeah. But, look good otherwise.